And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
It could be wrong, could be wrong. Are we digging a hole? It could be wrong, could be wrong. This is out of control. It could be wrong, could be wrong. It could never last. It could be wrong, could be wrong. Must have raised it fast. It could be wrong, but it could have been right. It could be wrong.
Yeah, but it should have been right. Love is our resistance. You know, that is from Muse again. I took the time because Glenn Jacobs, man, he's got it going on. That guy, he can see what the future and see what's important and kind of, you know, I just really love his perspective. And he put this up. I go, all right, I'll go check it out. I kind of enhanced his posting a little bit, added some links to lyrics and all this kind of stuff. And I went and looked at it, and I'm going, I listened to him at home, and I go, oh, I've seen this happen, you know, generations. This always keeps coming out. That's why they call it revolution. So I'm excited about what's going to be happening. And part of that is you have to have the guys being able to do this by going out and pressing flesh and doing things that can be an example. Now, at home, like Donna yesterday, she put up the article about raising chickens because she went Monday with Verda and Gary. They went and got 15 chickens. Little chicks are day old. I mean, they fit in the palm of your hand. My granddaughter is sitting there, you know, it took all day for her to touch one. But they'll be in there for a couple of weeks, just kind of growing. You keep them in a heat lamp, like at 90 degrees outside, just have a infrared light sitting there, and they don't care. They just eat, drink, and grow. And within a few months, you know, they'll start laying. I remember we got them in November, and I think by April they were laying before. And when she did the first article of the first egg, that was one of the most popular articles that we had on Freedom's Phoenix. And my wife didn't anticipate that way. I go, no, you watch. You watch. This is going to be huge. Well, now we're showing them how to sustain themselves. We're going to start getting some goats. We're going to start doing a lot of gardening and do some interesting things there. We found out that there's a guy doing a closed biosystem with chicken and vegetables and fish in Mesa here. We had that up on Freedom's Phoenix, so we're going to go visit them. We have people, Gary and Verda, that went with my wife to get the chickens, live in Sun City, and what you do is you don't have big yards there, but they have large green areas that they cordon off, you know, a section that you purchase, a little garden area, and they produce so much food. These retired citizens out there, they bring in the food banks to come once a week to take away all their vegetables because they can't possibly eat them all. This is already happening. But one of the things that is going to be essential to this, what happens when we start making, you know, 1-2 dozen eggs a day? I can't eat that many. What do I do with them? I can sell them. What am I going to sell them for? I put them on Craigslist and I say, silver. You know, I don't want this fern stuff. I want some silver. Give me some silver. If I want to convert it and go buy something else, I'll go to the coin shop and do that. Well, you know, what they're doing is starting to give not just a mechanism by which they can be traded, but also you can educate people what the real value is. So I want to hear what your plan is for Pork Fest.
The idea that we came up with is to try and help get as many activists to Pork Fest as possible. And by doing that, we're going to provide these Pork Fest dime cards for as cheap as possible. And people will be able to sell themselves, kind of like how when Girl Scout cookies come around and they sell you cookies so that they can go do Girl Scout stuff. When activists have Pork Fest cards and they're able to sell their activism to their cousin or friends saying, hey, buy this, help me get to Pork Fest. We've got one person signed up. They're going to give it a trial run and see how much they're able to get for these cards. And
so it's like instead of selling candy, you're selling dimes?
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's you know, like soliciting a donation, and you know, you can add to that, or the activists can add to that however they like. Say, you know, I'll send you help me get to Pork Fest, and I'll send you postcards when I get there. But I'm also going to give you this card of value. And then, of course, it has the Pork Fest logo on it. So, you know, it's kind of an advertisement for Pork Fest. So maybe these people, you know, all of a sudden want to, you know, if that you convince to take it, all of a sudden they're interested and they're going to go online and check out Pork Fest. So it's kind of a two-way, you know, promotional idea, and also something of value for the activists to give to their potential donor. But the point of it is, it's not so much about what the dime's worth; it's more about what the activist is worth and what they can, what they can provide. And also, we're working on an idea. Like Nick said, we've only got one person that actually self-started. He posted on the forum and saying, "Hey, I need an idea to how to make some money to go to PorcFest."
It was same. It was like 20 minutes after Drew and I had discussed that we were going to do this. Then this person goes on Facebook and says, anybody have any ideas or help on how I can make money to get to PorcFest? And we're like, wow.
Why, yes,
synchronicity.
Yeah, it really wasn't even 20 minutes. It was that we were outside having a cigarette talking about this and came back in and this guy had posted. So it was really kind of neat. And this thing is, I mean, this dime card idea has just exploded over the last 2 weeks. And we can't keep a hold of it. I mean, it's like, grabbing a tiger by the tail kind of thing. So, we're just trying to get it out there as quickly as possible and getting these dimes into people's hands. But I just want to share some experiences from some of the other activists here in Arizona. One gal was saying she stopped a girl right before she went to the Coinstar machine, where you dump all your coins in the machine and it counts it, and then it takes 7% off and gives you a receipt or whatever.
7%?
Some are higher than that. The Coinstar machine. Some are like 12. I was insulted.
Oh my goodness!
I was insulted that at my own bank it was even 3%, and I told them that's BS. I'm not.
Wait a minute. If you go to give money to a bank, they charge you because it's coins.
Well, because it's loose. Now, if I roll them, but that's my point. If I roll them, I can go into the bank all day long and put down a roll of 49 pennies, and they're going to give me 50 cents for it. They're not going to count it. They're going to trust me because they're my bank, and they're going to give me, 50-cent credit to my account if I put down that roll. I'm saying, and I may not be accurate on some of those rolls. I'm not trying to steal from them. I'm just saying that's the way it works. It's a bank. But yeah, they have a machine in there that charges 3%. I was personally insulted when they installed that. That was, my credit union. But anyway, different story. So Andrea stopped a lady who was about to dump a whole bunch of coins into this machine and said, hey, you should really go through those first. Now, again, what coins are in circulation, it isn't a guarantee that you're going to find them. But hey, if you've got a junk drawer full of coins that you've had sitting around for a few decades, it's probably pretty good chance that there's a pre-64 dime in there.
It's more than that. I'll tell you what my personal experience is on this. When I started finding out that these dimes really were worth a lot more than I knew, I asked some of the coin dealers, I go, where do you get these from? Well, one of them, a collector told me, he says, I have a relative that works at the receiving area of the toll booths in California.
Cha-ching.
So they go through all of them. They're not stealing. I got a dime right here. I'm going to put that dime in there. You see that one right there? I'm taking that dime. And I said, thank you very much. So
give you a quarter for two.
And, these guys, right. It's just, it's got a balance. So there are a lot of people that deal in coins. Now, imagine you got the coins goes in the parking meters down here. In addition to us doing, we won't feed your meter. We feed your meter so you won't feed the state kind of thing. Let me go ahead and pull this up for those online can see it. What we do is we put that in there so that, it's a promotional thing for wallet voting, this dime deal, but it also is educational. They'll start looking at their dimes when they got the paper that we put that said what they're really worth when they're pre-64. If I'm taking a dime and putting it in a parking meter, guess what I'm doing? I'm checking to see if it's 64 or earlier. That's what I'm doing. So I can see the educational value of this is at least as important as anything else. So when this woman went to this, what do they call it? Red Star?
Coinstar.
Might as well be Red Star.
Yeah,
anyway.
No, and it's funny because we talked about this. We were sitting out in the parking lot for an hour saying, how do we get our hands on one of these? We wanted to buy one or rent it or lease it or, what's the deal with these things?
Just to go through the coins.
Exactly. And Coinstar will not offer you a franchise. They don't do that. They don't offer that. That's not how they operate. We would have to go and find somebody to build us a machine. And
I'm sure they're out there. You can go buy it from manufacturer number whoever.
No, absolutely. But so you're right. It's the education that you stop people before they turn their their dimes into this machine and it eats it.
You see where this is going? It's already started. We talked about it. We knew this was going to happen. Well, Nick and Drew saw an opportunity. They're taking advantage of it. You can too. We'll talk about that when we come back. How you can and they can help. We'll be right back.